All right, go ahead.
As we approached the end of the village of Hebbronvale, Charles Craig and I were the first ones to arrive at this point, and then we were joined by two other men, but meanwhile Charles was called back because he had the walkie-talkie. And then Pop Waters came and joined us, and out beyond that turn, about a quarter of a mile, there are two buildings, one on the right and one on the left. And Pop Waters told us we're changing directions, but he said, I want you to take these guys out there and clear those houses, the two houses. Now it was rather forbidding because it was completely open. The snow was deep with undulating drifts, and so the three of us set up, but I was in the lead, breaking snow, and that's very, very tiring. You don't walk through it, you literally climb through those drifts, and you feel almost naked because you have these dark uniforms in this brilliant white snow. And as we approached the two buildings out there, I was certain that if there would be a problem, it would come from the building on the left side of the roadway. But then as we approached, the building on the right was the closest, and you sort of begin to panic because you are sure something has to happen. And then I made a dash with the other two guys behind me for the first building on the right. There was a stoop there. I jumped up in that stoop, and I hit the front door. And unfortunately, the door was locked, so there was no other choice but to make the dash diagonally across the street to the small house. Now, I'll never forget, there was a large tree right in the front yard, but I crossed the street and I opened the front door, and it took a few moments until my eyes adjusted because of coming in out of the gleaming white snow into a darkened room. It took a while till they adjusted. But when my eyes finally adjusted, I couldn't believe them, because there on the floor sat a whole group of German soldiers. They had all of their weapons, machine guns and rifles and everything, and they just had it, I guess. And they got up, raised their hands, and the three of us together, we marched them out. But first of all, before I did that, I went into the adjoining room where there was a window that faced the roadway in which we came, and boy, sent the chills up my back when I realized what they could have done to us with all the weaponry that they had. But we had at least 12 or 14 prisoners. We got them out of that house, and then we marched them back here into Grant-Menil and Hebbronvale. Then we turned them over to somebody else to take them to the rear. But it was the end of a sort of a rewarding day because of the prisoners we took, and there was only, I think, one shot fired at the very entrance of the village. But I always considered this village here, it was a sort of a gift to me, a miracle village, because of, as soon as we left this village and started up the hill toward the next village, Autrey, then all hell broke loose again. The firing was heavy. Our casualties began to mount, but this was a village that will always be very memorable to me, and it seems the answer to prayer still continues. It still seems to be in effect because of the way we're treated so graciously and generously here in the village of Hebbronvale, a memorable village. It's a gift of answered prayer.